Got some javelina here. This was a rare treat, and I talked to John, and I guess when I took this picture years ago, he said that javelina weren't commonly seen in this area of the Jornada. This is up by NASA Well. Apparently they'd been seen by G. Sum around the base of Summerford, but it was funny too. I remember the day I checked this camera was with Roxanne, and she was like, "Oh, I hope we see a javelina." I was like, "No, there's no javelina up here." And on this camera, boom, there's some javelina. So this is javelina here, and this is a javelina. It's a little baby javelina. So we got the group up there. There's actually 4 of them in this session, this little group. And I figured they're hiding in this thick brush around here because it's pretty open terrain, honestly. And so javelina don't really move too far and take off from the heavy brush. And around this area, it's all pretty thick. So can anyone see this photo? I'm glad we have the lights off. This one's kind of hard to see because this one is an elusive animal. Does anyone see this bobcat over here in the corner? Now, what made this picture extra special to me is not only is it a bobcat, but in its mouth, you can see it's carrying a jackrabbit right here. So you get to see some active predation on the Jornada. This is North Flume again, and I was extremely stoked when I got to see this picture. Bobcats, just cats in general, are incredibly elusive animals. So when you get to see one on camera unbaited, it's a special treat. Like that one, got this year. And this is a very healthy individual. I hope he's still doing good. Okay, so the next photo here was a real eye-opener, and I'm not kidding. When I saw this next photo, I, like a small school child, bolted to John's office. I'm sure he remembers. And I was like, "John, get in here!" I saw this on the Jornada in Pasture 3 of College Ranch. So that was too cool for school. A mountain lion, a big fatty. Can't tell its gender at this range, but doing good. I'm sure it just passed through. I'm not too familiar on movements of mountain lions through the Jornada, but that was just too awesome there. I only have one picture. That's it. One picture of that mountain lion, which is, again, even still a rarity. This is just... How can I not? How can I not? How can I not?
How many hundreds of pictures did you get?
Yeah. So there's 3 pictures. The camera takes, okay, so the way these cameras work, in case anyone is curious, they have a motion sensor on them. They also have an infrared sensor on them. They're capable of picking up body heat in front of them at night because the motion sensor doesn't work as well. But in the daytime, it relies on its motion sensor. And when it detects motion in front of the camera, it takes 3 pictures in a quick burst. About that quick. So I have a picture of a turtle in one position, pretty much, because he's really, really slow. And I also have another section of the turtle way over there. He's really trying to book it out of there, but they're not known for their speed. Okay. So what prompted all this trail cam stuff from the very beginning, minus Bob's study, what prompted all this trail cam shenanigans is this, and this right here. So, okay, LTER techs, we're doing probe every month, excuse me. And I told John, I said, the truth, yeah. Really what I do is just, yeah. Really, I think this is what I learned in training. You just hold the probe right next to your important internal organs and just hold it there for an hour. So, okay, I was doing probe, and I came up to a couple of these stations, and they look like this. And I said, "What's going on, John?"
So hang on a
Yeah.
second. Those are
Yes,
two
please.
poles about 3 foot apart that go up about 5 foot tall that had a adjoining half section of 24-inch diameter PVC, old PVC pipe. Used to be shade shelters for some min-max thermometers. And so they're every 150 meters along a 270 or a 2.7 kilometer transect. And so these have been up there since 1982, up until a few years ago.
Right. Thank you, John. So, yes, that is exactly what they are, and that is what they're doing. And as I was doing probe, I noticed that sporadically at first, they were being knocked down. And since, they've been here a while, and I was only doing probe like once a month, I thought maybe they were just falling over because of natural causes. Well, 1 month I came out, and all of them were knocked down, except for 2. Station number 46 and station number 81. And this goes all the way to Mount Summerford's base, all the way to Peak Hall. All of them knocked down. And so I say, there is not enough alcohol and boredom in the world to make kids tear these down. I figured at first, they got bashed. But 44, or like 41, that's like in the middle of the Bajada. So there was no truck tracks. It's all enclosed. And so at first, at first, John and I were like, maybe it's oryx rubbing on it, knocking it over. But that is just tremendous. I went over to one that was still standing, station number 81, before this happened, and I pushed on it, and it took a tremendous amount of strength to like even budget, which I know you guys thought, how could I not budget? But I couldn't, okay? It took a tremendous amount of strength to even move it. So unless that's like Arnold Schwarzenegger out there, like really getting his booty scratch on, that is not gonna happen. So the only thing I could think of was a car, or someone was like pulling him over, or bashing him with like a maul or something. Like NMSU's Kinesi team was out there just like bashing these things. So anyway, I put a trail cam on 81, the sole survivor, and as you can tell, I missed the first part of it being bashed over. I had to set it up actually. So, 81 looked like this and I got to it, but I could tell, if you look on the ground carefully, there is a lot of fresh tracks, and you can also notice that the date is messed up on this. This is the first set of cameras I put out, so I apologize. So don't look at the date, don't mind it. But you can tell there's a lot of fresh tracks around it, and there was no human boot prints. So I was like, well, it's not people, clearly, so we have a mystery on our hands. So I was looking through the footage, and I thought, could it be deer? No. So this is when the camera, I set that up. Again, just real high-grade science there. But I set it up. It was pretty shattered. So I thought maybe it was deer. Nope. Could it be this naughty skunk? Again, skunks are known to be pretty destructive. It is not. And I now, still to this day, remember, again, John can attest to this, this was before the mountain lion, ran to his office like a giddy schoolboy because I saw this on the trail cameras. So I had still not put the connection together, but when I saw this, I just could not believe it, and I giddily squealed and scampered to John's office. And we came in and we had a gander at these photos, and in fact, we have a very lonely and interested bighorn sheep in our min-max shelters. So I'm going to move through these photos rather quickly. I want to put this like a movie sort of together because there's a lot of these photos. I edited a little bit to kind of give it some continuity because I'm sure no one wants to be here forever. But I'm going to put these photos of him, I put these photos together movie style. I'll be going back and forth just so you can kind of get some idea and of him being incredibly very vandalistic, whatever, to our stuff. Okay, here we go. So you can already tell he's bumped it. Again, it has, okay, so another thing about these cameras, they have a 30-second cooldown. So if that's in case someone was just sitting there having a dance party in front of your camera, it's just going to take 3 photos, wait 30 seconds, take 3 more. So you'll notice that these sometimes have a minute or so between photos, even though the date and time, the date is wrong and the time, of course, is wrong as well. The seconds and stuff, it's all relative. So the seconds are right, the minutes are right. So you can kind of see what's going on here. So he's bumping it, looking around. So he's moved to the other side, knocked it farther in. If you look real carefully on the ground, you can actually see tracks and stuff where he's kind of stirred the ground up there. Moving around. He mills around a lot. Very bored. So there, hooks his horn, startles himself, kind of steps back, moves around. And also, if at any time someone wants me to stop or go back, please, I will, absolutely. Okay, so I was like, all right, I knew he was interested in this posts, and I figured then I made the connection that he's probably destroying our towers. But this photo session, it really just proves it. So I'm actually going to use this. Oh, nope, I am not going to use that. There we go. There we go. It's a lot smoother than the keyboard. So you can just see that whole ramming sequence. And then he feels a little bad. Okay, so this is station number 46 on the Bajada. You can see Peak Hall is down here. And that's lower trailer right there. So this photo session, I had to try to pick up the shattered remains of this one as well. And since it was after he destroyed 81, this was the only one left standing. So I knew we were going to get some photos of him finishing the job here too. And it was incredible, honestly, on a side point, to get an idea. This is just a juvenile. He's not even full grown. I mean, he's full grown physically, but he's still got some time to mature. His horns are still pretty small for a mature ram. And these posts are very thick, and like I said, a tremendous amount of strength. And some of them were cleanly shattered off, like just cut. It looked like someone just took a giant pair of like bolt cutters and just snapped them. So the amount of force this animal is exerting on my posts is apparent. He's taking huge steps back and ramming them at like full speed. And so it's pretty impressive, and I think in this, you can see the moment where it starts to splinter here. So he's pretty naughty. I just like that sequence where he just walks off and then boom. And then I get this section of photos where he looks at his handiwork and then smashes my poles again. Very naughty. You can see the determination in his eyes. He's very upset. He got the sclera showing here. He's pretty angry here. So, boom, hits my poles. And then comes in for Now, believe it or not, I thought this was actually Kyle on my camera at first. No, I'm just kidding.